Donald Trump's administration is fundamentally about one thing at this point, and that is the grift. Above all else, Donald Trump cares about making himself more money. And of course, in the process, making the billionaires that bought his administration more money as well. And that's it. That is all that Donald Trump has set out to do with the rest of his time as president. And it became pretty blatant when a video was released from inside the White House showing just how far Donald Trump will go, including very obvious criminal lengths, to make himself a buck. And it happens amid the panic that is throughout his White House that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into this criminal activity obviously taking place within Donald Trump's White House, I want to start with what teed this all up, and that is Gavin Newsom calling out Donald Trump wanting to run for president in 2028.
That's how strongly I feel about this moment, and I think millions, hundreds of millions of Americans feel the same. We take Donald Trump seriously when he talks about the 2028 election. I mentioned to my friends a moment ago that I got a hat, a Trump 2028 hat, from Donald Trump's biggest supporters, one of his biggest and most influential supporters. They're not screwing around. We cannot afford to screw around either. We have got to fight fire with fire. And I'll close on that point. What more evidence do you need in the state of California in the last just 6 months? Warrantless raids all across this state. Conditioning, threatening to condition disaster aid on the basis of politics, not on the basis of principles and the needs of people. We've seen these illegal tariffs take shape and impact this state disproportionately more than any other state.
I have always been so tired, so tired of people in the media saying that libs freak out about whatever Donald Trump says and you can't take him seriously, you can't take him literally. Sure, there are moments in which Donald Trump is trying to distract us, and yes, we do not need to pay attention to them. But when the man says he wants to run for president again, when the guy who said he'd be a dictator on day one and since has tried to carry out that promise is talking about running in an election he is barred from, should have been barred from the last election, by the way, yeah, I think we ought to take him seriously, especially as he is in this moment trying to steal the midterm elections. And why? So Donald Trump won't be held accountable in any of his many criminal plots, including his grift, which Jessica Tarloff broke down right here before we get into one of those criminal examples.
And I just got a note that the staggering level of corruption from last night's meme coin dinner.
That's what you're focusing on, the
40%, no, 40% of Donald Trump's wealth has been accumulated since he became president because of 2 crypto coins. The New York Times did interviews with foreign buyers of this cryptocurrency who came over here to have dinner with him. A guy from South Korea.
This is not even part of the segment.
So what?
You're talking about a meme coin.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about who's corrupt and who is profiting off the American office.
Did he try to cover that up? I don't think so.
Yeah, Caroline Levitt said
you're defending an administration that covered up a dying leader, and you're sitting here going, but meme coin, meme coin.
I'm saying billions.
All right, let's give Paul a chance to clean it up real quick. Paul, final thoughts.
Clean on my side of the street.
All right, all I'm going to say is that
Donald Trump has made billions of dollars in cash, mind you, off of his crypto coins since assuming the presidency. In cash. This is not just in inflated net worth of his Truth Social stock. This is not just money propping up his failed businesses. This isn't some BS IPO from Don Jr. This is cash coming into his stable coin, his Trump coin, his Melania coin, and there's been no investigation. Barely anyone has said a word. It is insanity to me. But that's not enough. The billions aren't enough because Donald Trump was caught in a video that just came out selling merch at the White House. Yeah, that's illegal, by the way, and he doesn't seem to care.
They love this for your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Scarf. Good
Great.
stuff.
Thank you.
Can you put the key in here, whoever's taking it? That's important to not to lose that.
Yeah.
Do you have your key?
No.
Okay, good. I had this one for you, but I like that box better.
Yeah.
I had that one for you. You know, you're not allowed to run a bid. So, because everyone, I'm 28 points higher than anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wants me to run, but
including us.
Yeah. It's funny. So this drives me crazy. Look, 4 more years. I go 4 more years. So it's sort of cool. Fellas, come on, grab what you want. That's okay.
So not only is Donald Trump selling merch, he's selling Trump 2028 merch inside the White House. So this is campaign merch for a future election that he's barred from inside a government building. The White House, no less, is what Donald Trump is doing right now. While he sees historically bad poll numbers, as his administration is in shambles, as he tries to run and hide from the Epstein scandal, the scandal of his failed economy, any other scandal that you'd want to talk about, Donald Trump is selling 2028 merch inside the White House, a place that you pay to keep safe, secure, looking nice, representing us, our country, our house of the people. The man's selling merch out of it. And it's not unusual to have a White House shop. It's commonplace. But it's usually just like little DC trinkets. You know, you get something, a little memory. There's nothing wrong with that when people go through for tours. But selling Trump merch is insanity. And of course, illegal. It's a violation of the Hatch Act. Donald Trump doesn't care about that. We're way past the Hatch Act at this point. But I do think it's a funny encapsulation of the corruption. It's not funny. It's upsetting. But of the corruption and just how outside of reality that Donald Trump is at this point, that he's like, 2028, people keep saying I should run again. Which people? Like, I know your cultists say that. And we recently saw a poll that 43% of Republicans, which is a staggering number, but not nearly as much as I thought it would be, would not bat an eye if Donald Trump was in the Epstein files, which, by the way, he is. And when that comes out, I'm sure that number will go up, and Republicans will say, well, we never really cared about Epstein in the first place. Why would we care about Epstein? And the files aren't even real. And if they are, who cares? But they're not. But if they are, but I don't know. That's what Republicans will do. Surprised that number's not higher. But the grift and the graft, it's unimaginable. Billions of dollars he has profited off the presidency, while he's taking billions more to funnel into his golf clubs to promote them and to take as many vacations as possible. J.D. Vance, as we are slashing the budget for national parks, had the water level of a river in Cincinnati raised so he could go kayaking on his birthday. Do we see the hypocrisy? These are the guys who said that they were going to be saving you money. They're going to be slashing the budget. They're going to be cutting close to the bone. It is hypocrisy on display all the time. And the corruption might be the worst part of it all. And that is why I'm glad we have someone like Chris Murphy, who's been on this beat the whole time. And I want to take a look at what he had to say in his most recent takedown of Trump's corruption.
The United States Senate will not facilitate, will not grease the wheels of Trump's corruption of our foreign policy. We can do that by voting to block these two arms sales to Qatar and to the UAE. Not permanently, but until both countries commit to deny Trump's requests for personal enrichment as part of the bilateral relationship. That's why Senators Van Hollen, Kaine, Schatz, and Sanders have joined me in two resolutions to disapproval for those Reaper drone sales and the Chinook sale, and we'll have a vote on these two resolutions as early as this week. President Trump has declared that U.S. foreign policy is for sale. And the opening bids from two of the richest nations in the world is a $2 billion investment in Trump's crypto company from the UAE and a $400 million luxury plane, essentially for the president's permanent personal use. At the exact same moment that Trump is trying to push a bill through this Congress that is going to ruin a lot of people's lives, cutting off their health care or leaving kids without food at night, he's making himself even richer by trading American national security policy for gifts. And to make it worse, trading away U.S. national security secrets in exchange. The net result is an American public that is poorer and weaker and less secure, and a president who is richer. It's corrupt. It's corrupt. We've never, ever, in the history of this country, allowed for a president to do this. Never in the 250 years that our republic has been on the earth has a president ever asked another nation to enrich himself in this way in exchange for preferential treatment from the U.S. taxpayers. If you're a Republican or Democratic senator, you have to see this as unprecedented, as terrible for our nation, as corruption. American foreign policy should not be for sale. If we let these arms sales go through, we are greasing the wheels of that corruption. If we vote for these resolutions to disapproval, at least we have a shot to stop it.
Absolute insanity that they have gotten away with this. They won't be able to if we have a Democratic majority in the House and the Senate. And it is why it's so important that we work so hard to message this, to talk about it, to keep people informed. I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had. Well, I'm a guy in my 20s. I'm allowed to be out at the bars, and I am. And I'm talking to guys, and I'm like, do you guys know, I'm sure you're into crypto, or do you know what Trump's doing with crypto right now? And they're like, I'm like, what? You don't know that the president of the United States is using that office to funnel billions of dollars into his own pocket? And they don't. When they do learn that, guys who are into crypto, they give a proper what? They don't like it. I've heard this a lot from guys who like the crypto space. And I think it's interesting and something that we should take note of, that the billionaire, the whales of the crypto industry, like the Winklevoss twins or any of the Mark Andreessens, the Bill Ackmans of the world, those guys who are real big players, they're more worried about them than they are any regulation coming from the government, because they just think they have too much control over it. And their closest to Trump represents that amount of control, right? And they don't want that. They want this to be a space outside of the normal institutional control. You can give your merits or demerits for that. I don't love crypto. But one thing is clear, this is an industry now that Donald Trump has built to serve him. And that's not what these people want. So I think we should call it out. We're certainly going to on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.